in Kuala Lumpur. Malaysia's acting transportation minister said he's checking into the reports of a crash.
There are two issues that have been raised earlier, that the plane landed in Nanning. That is not true. The second point, that they found wreckage in an island on the south side of Vietnam. DCA and also our foreign office have said that it is not true. But since the report mentioned the Vietnamese Navy, I'm getting confirmation through the military on that.
Let's go to Beijing now. CNN's David McKenzie is covering this for us there. Certainly, everyone's trying to confirm these reports of what perhaps happened to this plane, but there are 3 countries involved in this mission, David, and certainly complicating, and has to be so frustrating for the families there.
Well, very frustrating. They held up in this hotel behind me. Some of them have, in fact, left here in frustration because they say they haven't got any word from the airline or authorities. But you can kind of understand. I mean, this flight, according to Vietnamese official government website, vanished over their airspace in the middle of the night, in the early hours in the morning, in fact, as it went from its point of departure in Kuala Lumpur towards Beijing, where it should have arrived here in the Chinese capital early this morning, local time. But it never came. We rushed to that airport early this morning. There was just a red sign on the notice board saying delayed. Now, more than 230 passengers on board, mostly Chinese, more than 150. The foreign ministry here in China said it's going to do everything they can to help in rescue efforts. Earlier reports that they had sent 2 Chinese vessels, according to state media, were incorrect. They're on standby to go. It appears, according to the Vietnamese Navy, through state media, both here in China and in Vietnam, that they are saying that this airline crashed in the Gulf of Thailand, as you say, around 150 miles from the nearest island. So it would be a very tricky rescue effort indeed if those reports turn out to be the case. Now, certainly the Malaysian authorities are being more cautious, but all of this really is adding to the confusion, the pain, the frustration from families just not knowing what the situation is.
And of course, no one will know the reason that this plane apparently fell from the sky, but this airline does have a good safety record, correct?
It does have an excellent safety record. The last accident with any kind of fatality was in the mid-90s. Malaysia Airlines is a very well-respected airline in Asia. It was a code-share flight with China Southern Airways, which indicates why perhaps so many Chinese nationals were on board. So right now it's a case of waiting, agonizing, wondering what happened. Way too early to understand any reasons why this happened, but this plane was at its cruising altitude, some distance from its takeoff point, when it appears it vanished off the radar, according to Vietnamese authorities. Now the search and rescue effort appears to be in full swing. Kind of understand. I mean, this flight, according to Vietnamese official government website, vanished over their airspace in the middle of the night, in the early hours in the morning, in fact, as it went from its point of departure in Kuala Lumpur towards Beijing, where it should have arrived here in the Chinese capital early this morning, local time. But it never came. We rushed to that airport early this morning. There was just a red sign on the notice board saying delayed. Now, more than 230 passengers on board, mostly Chinese.